So ready to start? Now, Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay, now we have finished Dharma to one extent. I'm going to share my screen to make sure, and also make sure you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, I'm going to go on slideshow. Now you can see?
Yeah.
Very good, you can hear me. Excellent. The last lecture was taken directly from the book called Amaravadi. It's available in Kannada. I took it from the 13th book of Amaravadi, named Satya Dharma Samskriti Vijnana Mandiram. And this information is actually a collection of lectures of a great yogi called Srirangama Guru, who is the guru of Sri KSV and his Holiness Rangapriya Swami. Nothing I have told is my own knowledge. Everything I told till now belongs to other people, belongs to these gurus of mine. And if at all I have done any mistakes, the mistakes are mine. And I also might have done a very bad job of presenting it. So the errors and inability to present it belongs to me. Just wanted to let you know. Some people may think, oh, what is big thing about Dharma? I can Google and find out anything about Dharma or Swadharma. Yes, you can Google. You will get probably a few million pages of information. And a lot of that information may not be correct. And to go through and find out what is right and what is wrong, it's very difficult. Hence, this book was very useful for me to simplify the information on Dharma. Hopefully, you enjoyed the lectures on Dharma. Now we'll get into Bhagavad Gita. If you have any questions on Dharma, you can post it on Telegram, and we will take that up next time sometime. So we are on the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So the background of Bhagavad Gita, we are going to use Bhashya here. Bhashya generally gives some background about the previous chapters, what was covered in the past. Since it has been a long time since we looked at Bhashya, probably a month back, we are going to discuss about what was said in the prior chapters. In the 4th chapter, what was said was different types of karma yoga was mentioned in the 4th chapter. Which was the verse? The verse was Daivamev apare yajnam yoginaha paryupasate brahmagnau apare yajnam yajnenaiva upajihvati. Before I go into this verse, I would like to mention to everyone, please go ahead and stop me if you don't understand something, because we are at the middle, sometime, somewhat in the middle or a little bit later than the middle of the first 6 chapters, right? We are in the 5th chapter and we have one more chapter to go, 6 chapters. These 6 chapters, according to Ramanujacharya, deal with Jivatma Sakshatkara, Jivatma Avalokana, Atma Sakshatkara. Here the Atma term is used in a Jivatma, that is referring to Jivatma. So according to Ramanujacharya, the first 6 chapters relate to Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, which is the subject of the 6th chapter. So this is basic eligibility criteria for someone to achieve Bhakti Yoga, which will be explained later after chapter 7. So to get eligibility criteria, one has to have some kind of Atma Sakshatkara to a good level. Atma Avalokana and Atma Sakshatkara. And those issues are explained in the first 6 chapters. The 4th chapter deals with different types of Karma Yoga is mentioned in the 4th chapter. That starts with the verse Daivami Vapare Yajnam Yoginah Paryupasate. Some yogis focus on Daiva. Some yogis focus on Yajna. Similarly, some yogis focus on Pranapana, holding the breath properly, doing pranayama. Some people do study of the books and scriptures. Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnascha Yatyasam Shrita Vrataha. Different, those verses explain different aspects of Karma Yoga, different types of Karma Yoga. And also in the 4th chapter, it was mentioned clearly that Karma Yoga is of the form of Jnana. So Karma is not pure action. Karma Yoga has Jnana inbuilt in the action. And Karma Yoga, of course, is Nishkama Karma. And Nishkama Karma automatically has Jnana embedded in it. That's where that was explained in the verse Karmanya Karmaya Pashyat. 1 second, let me reposition my thing here. So Daivame Vapara Yajnam was, I think, 425. And Karmanya Karmaya Pashyed Karmanija Karmaya Buddhiman Manusheshu Sayuktaha Kritsna Karma Kriti. Karmani Akarmayah Pashyet it means one who sees Jnana in karma, one who sees karma in Jnana. He is a brilliant person, he is an intelligent person among people. Sayuktaha Krishna Karma Kriti. He knows yoga, he knows all these things, and he is as if he has done all the karmas properly. So seeing Jnana in karma and karma in Jnana shows that Jnana itself has the form of knowledge. Karma itself has the form of knowledge embedded in it. So the importance of the Jnana portion of the Karma Yoga was also said in the 4th chapter. Shreyan Dravyamayadyagnat Jnana Yajnah Prantapa Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. The actions, the Nishkama Karma will end up in Jnana, and that Jnana will end up in some kind of realization of the self. The word Jnana needs a little bit of explanation. We have given it earlier, but the thing is, we just mention it in a different way. We talk about Jnana. This Jnana is something which we poorly translate as knowledge. If you say, oh, what is Jnana? Jnana is actually an entity in a way. Through that Jnana, one gets Atma Sakshatkara, and Atma Sakshatkara is also a form of Jnana. The realization of Atma is a form of Jnana. Here we say, you take, for example, a cell phone. If I say cell phone, I have the object in front of me. Now I know what the cell phone is, clearly. If I take any other thing, my computer mouse, you can see, we say, yeah, this is an object in front of me, and the words are computer mouse, and the words denote an object. What does this word Jnana relate to? Do we see that object? When I say Jnana, do you see an object connecting that word? No, not in this situation. So Jnana is realized when a person is at a different level of purity. Right now, we are unable to realize what this Jnana is. Just like how a sick person would not be able to taste food or taste the taste of food, he doesn't realize, he or she doesn't realize. Similarly, we are in a situation where we are not able to understand, not able to realize this jnana. So how much ever we talk about Bhagavad Gita, if we don't have the taste of the jnana, it is hard. That is why understanding Bhagavad Gita without knowing the object, without really realizing the object, is a very hard problem. But what we hope to do is, then why has Lord Krishna said about Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga and all? Because Lord Krishna also knows that this language can transmit some information to people which can guide them to realize this jnana someday. So we are trying to understand some initial, suppose somebody wants to go to a particular place and you have never seen a particular place. It could be Timbuktu, it doesn't matter what place is. Somebody is going to give you some information about, oh, Timbuktu is to the west of this place. Timbuktu is about 500 miles away, southwest of a particular place. So you get a lot of knowledge about it before you go and really achieve or go to that place and experience that land called Timbuktu. Similarly, this knowledge, what we are trying to talk about, understand, gives some kind of a superficial understanding of what we have to realize one day. Just wanted to mention this because many people think that knowing Bhagavad Gita, first 3 chapters or 4 chapters, oh, I know everything about jnana, karma and everything. It's very hard to do that. It's a realization process and one has to really understand that's most important than anything else. The text knowledge, textbook knowledge is not enough. We need to understand that. Now coming back to the situation here, we mentioned 3 important points in the 4th chapter. That is, different types of karma yoga was said, and karma has jnana portion, and that is a very important portion of karma yoga. In fact, that is the most essential part of karma yoga. We already talked about it. Here Ramanujacharya mentions Chaturthe Adhyaye Karma Yogasya Jnanakarata Purvaka Swarupa Bhedo Jnanamshasya Cha Pradhanyam Uktam. This sentence in Sanskrit, what I just said, is in the Ramanuja Bhashya introduction to chapter 5. Basically, what it says is what we explained right now. That 4th chapter, we have mentioned all these things. Now, we talk about 5th chapter background. Again, we continue. Prior to the 4th chapter, what happened? In the 3rd chapter, superiority of Karma Yoga over Jnana Yoga was discussed. And we will mention exactly what that means. Also, it was mentioned that even for a person capable of doing Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga is more preferable according to Ramanujacharya because Karma Yoga has advantages. It has inclusion of Atma Jnana Anusandhana. That is, Atma Jnana is embedded in Karma Yoga. So while doing Karma Yoga, one person would automatically experience this Atma Jnana slowly because it's a part. Antargata Jnanatvat. So in Karma Yoga, Jnana is embedded. And apramadatva means there is no risk of doing mistakes in Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, because karma is natural to people, action is natural, so they won't do much mistakes. They won't do many mistakes while doing Karma Yoga. Even if there are mistakes, that can be corrected easily. In Jnana Yoga, it is hard. because Jnana Yoga needs focus of the mind. You cannot get into Jnana Yoga without a complete control of your mind, so that the mind can focus only on the object of meditation, object of Jnana, which is Atma. It's very hard to get to that state of perfection. So Karma Yoga is Sukaratvat. Karma Yoga is easier than Jnana Yoga. And Karma Yoga is Nirapeksha Sadhana. Nirapeksha means it does not depend on any other method or path. It independently can lead to Atma Jnana or Atma Sakshatkara, the realization of Jivatma. That is possible through Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga has some advantages beyond over Jnana Yoga. This was said in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So that is summarized in Ramanuja Bhashya. Jnana Yoga Adhikarinaha api Karma Yogasya Antargata Jnanatvat Apramadhatvat Sukaratvat Nirapekshatvat Jayastvam Tritiye Eva Uktam. This is we have already talked about the English, that is the meaning of this verse, the meaning of this Bhashya. We will repeat again. Even Jnana Yoga Adhikaris, it is better for them to do Karma Yoga, because Karma Yoga has inbuilt knowledge and it is less risky and there is no fear of doing mistakes. It is easier and it is an independent path. Karma Yoga can directly get realization of Atma, and that is why it is superior. So Jayastvam Tritiye Eva Bhuktam. So in 3rd chapter that was said. In 4th chapter we already covered what was said. Here we see what was said in the 3rd chapter. Now we move into what will be the subject, topic, which will be addressed in the 5th chapter. The details of the topic are given here. One aspect of Karma Yoga for achieving the vision of the self faster than Jnana Nishta. That means Karma Yoga can give you the vision of self faster than Jnana Yoga. This is a very interesting, important point Sri Ramanujacharya makes. So we need to see how can Karma Yoga lead to a faster realization of Atma. That we will look at it eventually. Second thing, second aspect which will be dealt in the 5th chapter would be the way to practice Karma Yoga, thinking that I am not the agent of this action, I am not the doer. How do you really practice this aspect of, while doing something, most people will always think that, oh, I'm doing it, right? How do you do something without the feeling that you are not the doer? That would be explained in the 5th chapter. And also, the knowledge which arises, the jnana which comes out of this practice of Karma Yoga will be explained in this chapter, 5th chapter. This is explained in the Ramanuja Bhashya. Idanim Karma Yogasya Atma Prapti Sadhanatve Jnana Nishtayaha Shaigryam. So in this chapter, Karma Yoga, the aspect that the Karma Yoga will lead to Atma Prapti or realization of Atma faster than Jnana Yoga would be explained. Karma Yoga Antargata Akartrutvanusandhana Prakaram. So in Karma Yoga, what is important is actions which are done with the feeling that you're not the doer. Akartritva anusandhana, I am not the agent of this action. How does this work? Details of that are given in this chapter. Cha pratipadya tanmoolam jnanam vishodhyate. What kind of jnana is obtained by doing Karma Yoga? That is explained in this 5th chapter. Till now, do you have any questions? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, very clearly.
Okay. So no questions? Okay then. Gita Sangraha summarizes in wonderful small sentences the meaning of the entire chapters. So in Gita Sangraha, this is a summary of chapter 5 told by Sri Ramanujacharya, the Guru of Sri Ramanujacharya in Gita Sangraha. Karmayogasya Saukaryam Shaikryam Kaschana Tadvidaha Brahmajnana Prakarascha Panchamadhyaye Uchyate. Karma Yogasya Saukaryam, the ease of doing Karma Yoga. That is, Karma Yoga is easier. Shaikryam, that means it gives the goal faster. Kaschana Tadvidaha, and some accessories of Karma Yoga are taught here in the 5th chapter. Brahmajnana Prakarascha, that is the way in which Brahma here is similar, actually Jivatma, Brahma is Jivatma here. Brahma Samanakara Shuddhatma Vishayaha. So a pure Jivatman would be similar to Brahma. So here Brahma Jnana means Shuddhatma Jnana. That is pure, the knowledge of, or Jnana of the pure Jivatma. The nature of that Jnana is explained. Panchamadhyaye Uchyate. That is explained in the 5th chapter. So if a person does the practice of Karma Yoga, that leads to the maturation of Atma Jnana. And that will be explained in the 5th chapter. So now we will go into the first verse of the 5th chapter. Arjuna Vacha. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha shamsasi. Yachreya etayorekam tanme brohi sunishchitam. Krishna, that is Lord Krishna, Arjuna says to Lord Krishna, Sannyasam karmanam Krishna. You talk about karma sannyasa here means, sannyasa means here Jnana Yoga according to Ramanujacharya. You talk, so Arjuna is saying you're talking about Jnana Yoga and you're also talking about Karma Yoga. Punar yogam cha shamshasi. You, that is, O Lord Krishna, you praise Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. What is the definite path which is better for me? Please let me know. Which is the right path for me? Let me know. That's what he's saying. So this needs a little bit of explanation. But however, the meaning of this verse is basically it says, Sannyasam karmanam Krishna means karma sannyasa here is taken as Jnana Yoga. Punha yogam cha shamshasi, yoga means Karma Yoga. Both are praised in the first 4 chapters. That is, at certain times, Lord Krishna has praised Karma Yoga. At certain times, he has elevated the position of Jnana Yoga. Oh Lord Krishna, please let me know what is the right method for me. This is the meaning of it. Any questions on this verse? Okay, we'll go to the next one. Karmanam sannyasam means Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. You are praising both, and this is the gist of the teaching here. What's the teaching? First of all, this is about a mumukshu. Mumukshu is a person who is desirous of liberation. A person who is not interested in liberation would do a lot of actions with very focused interest in the fruits of the action and with idea that he is the doer and the fruits belong to him or her. But a mumukshu does that does selfless Nishkama Karma. And that's what we're talking about. And such a Nishkama Karma is Karma Yoga. What is the value of Karma Yoga? In the second chapter, it is explained that Karma Yoga leads to Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi is cleaning of the mind. So what is the advantage of Karma Yoga? What is the value of Karma Yoga? It cleans up your mind. That is, impurities of the mind are taken away. And that will help one to achieve self-realization. The vision of the self occurs because of purity of mind. And the vision of the self occurs through Jnana Yoga in the second chapter. So initially, the vision of the self may start when somebody does Karma Yoga first. But eventually, the perfection of the vision is realized using Jnana Yoga, which is explained in the Sthita Prajna portion of the second chapter. And the verses which explain them are in the Karma Yoga portion of the second chapter, Karmajam buddhi yukta hi palam tyaktva manishinaha janmabandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. So what is said here is Karmajam buddhi yukta hi, people who, that is intelligent people, give up the fruits of actions and without thinking that they are the agent of the actions, they work. They involve themselves in selfless Nishkama Karma dedicated to the Lord. Those people will be released from the cycle of birth and death, Janma Bandha Vinirmuktaha, from the bondage of this birth and other aspects in this life. They will be released. Padam Gacchanti Anamayam, they go to a state of purity which has no diseases, diseaseless, pure, enjoyable state. That is Atma Sakshatkara. They will get by karma. So Karma Yoga directly leads to Atma Sakshatkara by cleaning, by achieving Chitta Shuddhi or clean mind. Once they understand the details of the Shastras, Shruti Pratipannate Yadhastasyate Nischala, those people whose mind is focused in Samadhi, then they realize, they first have the vision of Atman. They realize Atman, what it is. Tada Yogam Avapshasi. Here, yoga means Atma Avalokana. That means that they get the vision of self. Oh, this is the nature of self. That's what they realize. When their mind is not wavering, focused in Samadhi. So here, actual realization of self is explained, and that is through Karma Yoga. And eventually what happens? It continues to Sankhya, or the Sthita Prajna area. And in the second chapter, Brahma, focusing in the Sthita Prajna, what is the verse? I'm forgetting the verse. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyev atmanatushtaha sthita prajnaha tadochyate. Prajahati yada kaman means when he gives up all desires. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan, whatever desires he has, everything he gives up. Atmanyev atmanatushtaha, he is completely happy with just Atman. His mind is focused on Atma only. Sthita Prajna Tadochyate, he is known as Sthita Prajna, whose mind is focused, whose knowledge is focused, whose Jnana is focused. And he achieves Brahma Nirvanam Richati, Nirvanamayam Brahma Richati. That means he achieves Atma Sakshatkara. So that is Jnana Yoga explained in the Bhagavad Gita second chapter in the Sthita Prajna portion of it. So vision of the self is initially obtained in Karma Yoga, and then perfection and experience of that self is obtained by continuing to do Jnana Yoga. So this is what is explained in the second chapter, the way Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are juxtaposed together and to understand how they're related to each other. Again, in the third chapter and fourth chapters, what was said was, even if somebody is competent to be a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi is better for that person. Karma Yogi is beneficial. And the Karma Yoga, Karmanishta or Karma Yoga itself is sufficient for that person to achieve the vision of the self and experience of self. This is what is said in the third and fourth chapters. So now comes the problem. Karma Yoga seems, and Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga seem to be two paths to achieve the Atma Sakshatkara or self-realization. Which one is better? Why would I want to do both of them together? So this is the confusion in the mind of Arjuna, because both seem to have advantages, and both are supported by Lord Krishna in these chapters, and both seem to go towards the same goal, that is Atma Sakshatkara. So that's where the problem is in the mind of Arjuna. Hope this is clear. So he says, which one is better, Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga? And if they both are going towards the same goal, there has to be some different kind of advantage, like maybe ease of doing it, ease of adaptation, that's one thing, or faster method to get to the goal, to realize the vision of the self. So this may be another advantage. So based on these possible advantages, which one is better, Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga? This is what is being asked by Arjuna to Lord Krishna. Any doubts about this information I presented on this slide? Any doubts? Yes, no? Here, Ramanujacharya explains things a little bit so that people understand it properly, because it's a little difficult to understand. Karmanam sannyasam jnanayogam punaha karmayogam cha shamsasvi etaduktam bhavati. O Lord Krishna, Arjuna says to Lord Krishna, you are praising Karma Yoga, you are praising Jnana Yoga. Dvitiya, and again, I'm just summarizing, I'm repeating many things, but it may be of value to you to understand clearly. Dvitiya adhyaye mumukshoho pratamam karma yoga eva karyaha. In the second chapter, this is the Bhashya of Ramanujacharya. In the second chapter, what was said was, a mumukshu, or person who is interested in moksha, has to do karma yoga. Just do karma yoga, that is sufficient. That was said in the second chapter. Karma yogena mridita antah karana kashayasya. By karma yoga, after obtaining Chitta Shuddhi or purity of mind, mridita antah karana kashayasya means all the impurities inside the antah karana would be, in the intellect and mind. When all those impurities are burnt, then a person is ready to do Jnana Yoga. Then he does Jnana Yoga and then achieves the vision of the self, Atma Darshanam. And one has to engage in Jnana Yoga only after attaining purity of mind by doing Karma Yoga. This is said in the second chapter. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmaneva atmanatushtaha sthita pratistadochyate. We explained just now. This is the Sankhya portion or Jnana Yoga portion explained in the second chapter. Punaha tritiya chaturthayoho jnanadhikara dashapannasya api karmanishta eva jayasi. So it was said in the third and the fourth chapter that even a person capable of doing Karma Yoga and even a person capable of doing Jnana Yoga should still continue to do Karma Yoga. That was explained in the third and the fourth chapter. Hence, Karma Yoga can give you Atma Sakshatkara without the need of Jnana Yoga. That was said that Karma Yoga has this efficacy. It's an independent method to get to Atma Sakshatkara. It was also said in the 3rd chapter earlier, Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim mastita janakadayaha loka sangraham evapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. Great people like Janaka, who were experts and who are capable of doing Jnana Yoga, in spite of having the capacity to do Jnana Yoga, they did only Karma Yoga and achieved the goal of Atma Sakshatkara. So just by doing Karma Yoga, kings like Janaka achieved Atma Sakshatkara. In fact, a person capable of doing Jnana Yoga should still, if he's a famous person, if he's a well-known person, should lead the community by doing Karma Yoga so that the other people around him do not just copy him and do Dhyana Yoga because other people around him are not capable of doing Dhyana Yoga. So to lead the others for Loka Sangraha, for the purposes of the welfare of the society around him or her, such a person capable of doing Jnana Yoga should prefer to do Karma Yoga. This is Loka Sangraha. This is explained. This was said in the 3rd chapter, I think. Yes, this is Karma Yoga. That is the 3rd chapter. Tatra yateyoho Jnana Yoga Karma Yogayoho Atma Prapti Sadhana Bhave Yadekam Saukaryat Shaigrach Shreyaha Sreshtamiti Sunishitam Tanme Bruhi. Oh Lord Krishna, tell me which one is better in terms of speed and in terms of ease of the path. Please explain. This is a question of Arjuna. Any doubts in this slide? If not, let's go further. Karma Yoga versus Jnana Yoga. So we have to understand the relative in a little bit deeper what this Karma Yoga is and what this Jnana Yoga is. According to, if we can try to track the mind of Arjuna, one can see because ekam vada tadekam vada, what is this verse? Oops. Yena sannyasam karmanam krishna punar yogam cha shamshasi echreya yetayorekam tanme brohi sunishitam. What is better for me? What is better for me? Et shreyaha. What is better? Please let me know. Right? This is a question he's asking. So if one yoga is better than the other, that means that one of them needs to be given up, because one yoga can directly take you to the goal. Why do the other yoga? So there's no need to do other yoga, right? So if Karma Yoga can be given up and only Jnana Yoga can be done, then why does Lord Krishna say that Karma Yoga is worth practicing? Because it's not worth practicing if one can just do Jnana Yoga, right? In the 3rd and the 4th chapters, it was told that even Karma Yoga is avyavahita sadhana to Atma Darshana. That means in the 3rd and the 4th chapters, it was said that Karma Yoga can directly give you the realization of self. Hence, both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga was said to be direct means for Atma Sakshatkara. If Jnana Yoga is the means for the vision of the self, then how can Karma Yoga also be a means for vision of the self? Are these two paths parallel paths to the same goal? This is a question in his mind. In the 2nd chapter, it was told that Jnana Yoga is direct means to the vision of the self. That means after Karma Yoga, a person gets a vision of the self, but a furthermore realization of Jnana Yoga and establish a realization of Atman. That means, let me repeat, it's a little complex, so let me repeat it. Sorry. So in the second chapter, first Karma Yoga was said to be the method to get vision of the self, and Jnana Yoga was said to be practiced by one who has the vision of the self. The Jnana Yoga could be practiced further, and directly one can achieve realization through Jnana Yoga. So this was said in the second chapter. So here comes the question, and and Sri Ramanujacharya says, with respect to Saukarya and ease of adoption, which one should be followed? As you know, Karma Yoga can take many births, right? It's not a simple process. It could go for many, many, many births. Similarly, Jnana Yoga could go for many, many, many births. That is why these paths are not simple methodologies, but a lifetime or several lifetimes occupation, a focus for a true aspirant. That is why these questions are very important. If you look at Vishnu Purana, at the end, it's mentioned there's a big fight between two kings, Khandikya and Keshidvaja. This is a very famous episode. And one is supporting Karma Yoga and one is supporting Jnana Yoga. They fight with each other for a long time. And later on, that in Vishnu Purana, the details of Karma Yoga, details of Jnana Yoga, everything gets explained. And they give a solution there as to what is valuable for a person. But the point is, these are not simple questions. These are very deep questions for a very interested aspirant in the path of going towards moksha. Here, Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam should not be taken in the method that, oh Lord Krishna, why don't you decide what is the right thing and let me know? That's not a good way to understand this, because Lord Krishna is Sarvajna, he knows what is right. So Sunishchitam Shreyaha Tanme Bruhi is a better way of saying it. That means, oh Lord Krishna, whatever you have already decided as the right thing for me, tell me that. So what is the right thing, and also what is useful for me? Please let me know. One could be confused because is there any verse in the Bhagavad Gita which says that by Karma Yoga alone one can achieve Atma Sakshatkara or realization of self? There is a verse that is in the 13th chapter, 24th verse. Clearly it says, Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechit Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. That means Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti. By dhyana, by meditation, yogis see within themselves, within their mind. Kechit, some yogis, Atmanam Atmana, they see, they realize Jivatma through their mind. Anye Sankhena Yogena, some people go through Sankhya Yoga, which is nothing but Jnana Yoga. Anye Sankhena Yogena, Karma Yogena Chapare. Some people go and realize through Karma Yoga. Some people realize through Dhyana Yoga, which is explained in the 6th chapter. Some people realize through Sankhya Yoga, which is explained in the 2nd chapter. Some people realize through Karma Yoga, which is explained in the 3rd chapter. So this verse very clearly says these are parallel paths to Atma Sakshatkara. So the superiority is only in terms of ease and speed of achievement. Lord Krishna answered this question over Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Sanyasaha karma yogascha nishreyasa karau bhau Tayostu karma sannyasate karma yogo vishishyate. The simple meaning of this is, O Krishna, O Arjuna, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, sannyasa, which is Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga, both are good paths. Nishreyasa karau ubhau, both are auspicious and right paths. Tayostu karma sannyasate. Among those two paths, Karma Yoga is better than Jnana Yoga. Karma sannyasa is Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is better than Jnana Yoga. That's what Lord Krishna says in this verse, in a simple way. So I have not prepared beyond this today, and also the time is almost running out. Why don't we stop here and see if you have any questions on this chapter? We
Krishna,
only
now
covered 2 verses.
Srinath here, Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
I have a general doubt. Finally, the goal is Paramatma Sakshatkara, and Atma Sakshatkara is an important milestone. I don't know about others. I can speak for myself that it's most unlikely that I will achieve that goal in this birth. But by Purvajanma Sukrit or Acharya's blessings, I may be able to reach a stage in Karma Yoga before this end of Janma. Now, you already said that Karma Yoga will have to go through many Janmas. The question is, will in the next Janma, will I be able to start from where I left, and how will that knowledge will come to me? What I'm saying is, do I have to start from zero again, or I'll be able to pick up from where I left?
Yes, this question is a good question. The same question was asked by Arjuna to Lord Krishna. Later on, Kachinno Bhayaviprashtachinna Bhaviva Nashyati Apratishto Mahabaho Vimodho Brahmana Pathi. He says that, will I have to start from, if I die before achieving the goal, what happens to me? What happens to my path? Yoga. Lord Krishna says, Nahi kalyana kaschite durgatim tata gacchati. That means, once you have done good things, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That means, even if you do little bit of karma yoga, you will be protected from great fear. You don't have to worry. Nothing you do will go as waste. In the next janma, you will get birth in the right family, which will give you a very congenial atmosphere and guidance to you to go further in yoga. So you will only you will start from where you left off.
Very good,
So,
Krishna.
Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. A person who is a Yoga Brashta, that means who has done some yoga and he could not achieve the goal and he passes away, he dies. He or she, that person will be born in a very suitable family because Lord takes care of it. That is Dharma. Like how we are born due to some dharma, right? Due to some power of something which is constant and which is held by Lord. The same dharma which is making the wind flow, the hearts beat, the minds act, the same dharma which is everywhere will take care of us, and we will be put in a family if we die before achieving some goal while doing karma yoga. There is no issue. There is no problem.
Excellent. Thank you, Krishna.
Any other question?
Krishna ji, this is Sudarshan. I have a very basic question. I apologize, it's too basic. What is the difference between just a karma and a karma yoga? Like, so if I'm going to offer flower to Bhagavan, would it be classified as a karma or like as a part of my nitya karma anushtana, which makes it a yoga? Thank you.
Okay, good. No. See, what makes it a yoga is Just a characteristic, there's the idea behind the karma. That means if you're asking for no benefit, you offer a flower to the Lord, but you don't expect anything from the Lord. And if you don't have the feeling that, oh, I am offering it, the feeling of agency, you're thinking that swasmai sopritaye swayameva karayati. That means Lord is making me do it to please himself, not to give me any goal, not to give me any fruits. So he is making me do it. He is the doer. He is the enjoyer of the fruits of the action, and I am not the agent of the action. If with this attitude, if you do, that will become karma yoga. If you do it without this attitude, with some kind of a goal in mind, and thinking that you are the doer, then it will be just an action. And that will have some kind of a reaction, and that may create bondage and other issues eventually. So disinterested action, disinterested is a complicated word. Action without expecting fruits, that will become yoga, karma yoga. Is it clear?
Is Nishkama Karma then Karma Yoga?
Yes, Nishkama Karma is karma yoga, but there's one small addition to it. Nishkama Karma is done to appease, to worship the Lord. That would be karma yoga. So karma yoga is done as a worship of the Lord,
So
with no expectations.
If worshipping the Lord is not part of Bhakti Yoga, then?
See, it's a good question. It is before Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga comes once a person really has Atma Sakshatkara. He has a complete vision of the self, and also he realizes what the self is. He experiences and enjoys the ananda, the bliss of the self. Only that person can have the real capability to start Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, see, Bhakti and Bhakti Yoga are two different things. Bhakti, in the normal sense, people say, oh my God, he has got a lot of devotion to the Lord and he goes to the temple all the time. Every day he never misses the temple. That is also Bhakti. That is focus. That is, Bhakti means Mahaniya Vishaye, I'm forgetting the verse there. Ramanujacharya explains that. That is, it's a devotion to a person who is superior to him. This is bhakti. But the devotion becomes bhakti yoga when the person can totally focus on that object of meditation, like how like an unbroken stream of consciousness, stream of knowledge, focusing only on the Lord. That can occur to a bhakti yogi, not just for a bhakta. Bhakta, his mind, his or her mind may go all over the place. He may go to a temple, but you may be focusing on somebody or thinking about somebody else, what happened in his office or at home or something like that. So that person's mind is all over the place. But for a bhakti yogi, the focus is 100% on the Lord. That person doesn't realize anything else. Like how for Prahlada in the Bhagavata it says, Krishna graha grahitatma naveda jagadidrisham. Prahlada's mind was captured by that Krishna. It's like in Tamil they say, oh, this is pay pudichu. Krishna graha grahitatma. Krishna caught hold of the mind of this Prahlada. And Naveda Jagadi Drisham. Prahlada never knew the world like other people, how they, like how other kids play with the toys and things like that. He never had any idea of an ordinary person's experience of life. He was totally engrossed in Lord Krishna. That is a bhakti yoga. But bhakti, which is ordinary going to temple and offering something, having one few seconds of focus and all those things, that can be taken as bhakti. Karma Yoga has a, see, in fact, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga have an element of each other. There is nothing called pure Karma Yoga. A Karma Yoga has a small element of Bhakti, small element of Jnana in it. Similarly, Jnana Yoga also has a small element of Karma Yoga and small element of Bhakti Yoga in it. And Bhakti Yoga also has a small element of Karma Yoga and small element of Jnana Yoga in it. So they are related. Tribihi Anyonya Sangamaha. They are together. Is this clear?
Thank you, Krishnaji.
Krishna, Suresh here.
Yeah.
There was one slide where I think there's a different definition of the term Gnana by Ramanujacharya. I think it was more related to Samadarshana. Can we revisit that this thing slide so that
Let me see which one it is. Samadarshana. One second. Oh, Yamunacharya, right? This one? Samadarshana Rupa Jnana Vipaka, right?
yeah.
See, what is your question?
No, nothing, because based on our previous discussions, what we understand by Gnana, I mean, one way of putting it is Gnana is the Dharma of the Jivatman. So
Correct.
we can take Gnana as equivalent to I mean, probably Jivatma in this particular context. But Ramanujacharya has coined that particular Samadarshana here. I think this is different from the way, like we usually understand Gnana as the Jivatma Gnana. So here he speaks about Samadarshana Gnana.
Okay,
so
this is a good question. This is a good question. See, this Samadarshana is Samadarshana will become more clear in the 6th chapter, 5th and the 6th chapters. Fifth will show you some aspect of Samadarshana. In the 6th chapter, it becomes even more clearer. The person sees himself as similar to anybody else. So he does not see the differences due to the body. Somebody could have a Devata Sharira. Somebody could have a Sharira of an animal, like a snake or a fly or anything else. And somebody should be able to, somebody probably will have a Sharira of a dog. So Samadarshana means a person who sees only Atman in everything. That is Samadarshana.
Yeah.
Shunichaiva Swapake cha
What I wanted to tell was, it is not just the knowledge of oneself, but also the knowledge of the self in everywhere, actually. So this definition is actually much more than what we usually understand. Usually when we say Gnana Yoga, we think of only ourselves. But here it is more than just ourselves.
Yes. Also, one thing, when this Jnana Yoga is being done, Brahma Samanakara Shuddhatma Vishaya, it says. That means when a person's knowledge becomes not so constrained by the karmas. See, if because of people doing a lot of karmas and having a lot of ajnana and all, their dharma bhuta jnana or their jnana would not be expansive. But once the karma, the sins, I would not use the word sin, papas are reduced, then the jivatma becomes that is Jivatma's Dharmabhuta Jnana becomes as expansive as Brahma. It becomes similar to Brahman. And in that sense, that is also Samanakara. When it becomes similar to Brahman, the Samadarshana occurs because then this person becomes a Jnani and sees the same Jiva Atma Darshana in other beings. Whatever may be the other being, it could be a pig or it could be a dog or it could be a cat, it doesn't matter who that person is. This person would see the vision of that self which is same as himself. And they're all similar to Brahman. So there is similarity among all of these Atmas. That's what he realizes, and that is Jnana Swarupa. That is the nature of Jnana. And that is a Jnana Vipaka, or maturation of knowledge. But this all occurs slowly. You know, it is step by step. What I'm saying is related to the 6th chapter. There are 4 verses in the 6th chapter which explains the Samadarshana. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna shukam va yadi va dukkam sayogi paramomataha. All these are explained in the 6th chapter. But thing is, initially it starts with somewhere as to see the vision of self. First, the jnana itself is not seen, right? This person is just thinking all the knowledge people have is just about objects around them. They don't have the jnana of themselves. They can see outside and figure out, oh, this is what it is. This is a computer. This is how it works. This is how he knows that the people generally know some things outside of themselves, but not themselves as jnana swarupa. So initially it starts with a vision of the self, and then it develops further as Jnana Yoga, where the vision becomes clearer and clearer, and that becomes Prakriti Viyukta Atma Swarupa. Prakriti Viyukta means it is beyond the material coverings. Where this Atman is covered by this body and Sukshma Sharira and all. All those coverings will fall away, and a true Atma Swarupa will be realized by this person who is also the realizer, and here that person realizes self. And beyond that, it will grow into Samadarshana Rupa Vipaka, maturation. All this will become clearer when we go through the verses of 5th chapter and 6th chapter closely, step by step. Any other question?
Swami, this is Shravan.
Okay.
When you mean Saulabhya, it is fast and easier. So how fast is Karma Yoga and how difficult is Jnana Yoga? Can we quantify?
It is very difficult to quantify because it all depends on who is the aspirant, right? Some people can zip through Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga very fast because they probably have done something in their past janmas. So this is the most complicated question. No human being will have this vision unless a Atma Jnani, who is a guru, can tell you that. That is, an Atma Jnani can look at you and directly say, you're ready for this. You'll probably get it very quickly. And some people say, he will say, oh, somebody may not be ready. And that person may have a little much longer to go. So all these things are visible to an Atma Jnani guru. And no other person can say what it is.
Okay.
What is faster? How fast is faster, right? In some places, Lord Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvatma Sayog. 1 second. Bahunam Jnanamante.
Sarvamiti.
Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Right? So, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Bhutva, Ramanujacharya says. After a long number of births, a person attains jnana, and even that jnana becomes mature and he will get Atma Jnana, and even then he will mature further and say, oh, Vasudeva, the Parabrahma is different from this Atma Jnana. Atma Jnana is only self-knowledge, and beyond that is Vasudeva. Eventually that Vasudeva Jnana, the bhakti towards Vasudeva comes to this person. So that's what is said in a later chapter. So all these things are step-by-step improvements in realization. But the speed of realization, nobody knows. The point I wanted to mention is, Bahunam Janmanamante means, look, that maturation took many janmas for some people. But for some people, it may be fast.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, then we can go to the next. I have another class to attend. I'm already late 20 minutes to it, actually. So we can stop now and we'll continue next week, okay?
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Prabhupada Namaha, Shri Krishna Prabhupada Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Namaste.